Hey all, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it may be for wherever you are. I am Stephanie Joy with all things Social Security and the Joy Disability Law Office. Your video is about to start. I wanted to remind you of our live Q&A sessions here on YouTube as well. They start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it's a little earlier for you Western folks. And I look forward to seeing you there. It's a first come, first served basis in terms of the questions you might want to pose in the chat. And I will pick them up going from beginning to end for about a 2 hour period. So, anyway, I hope to see you there. Have a great one, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Morning, afternoon, or evening. Okay, I was going through my LinkedIn, and there was a press release by the Office of Inspector General that came out on the 24th. Today is the 26th. You might not see this for some time because I don't think it's urgent to get it out, but it's definitely of interest. And this is kind of what many of us have been kind of squawking about for years now. And let me just let you know what it was about. This is the Office of Inspector General. It's the very same office that I report on Fridays about various fraud, prosecutions, convictions, and everything else, whether it's a con artist, a beneficiary who shouldn't be a beneficiary. We call them con artists too. Whether it is another bad actor, such as a foreign national, phishing and getting identity theft information from various vulnerable people and stealing their benefits, whether it is calling the SSA, pretending to be them and getting the direct deposit of their benefits changed, all those kind of prosecutions of people using their dead grandparents' number and continuing benefits for 10 years after they have passed on. Anyway, same office, but this is a report that they did. So it's not a prosecutorial thing, it's more of an evaluation of the quality of people we've had in the SSA, or the lack of sufficient is probably more accurate, because there's definitely many quality people in there, but there's also many that are not qualified and or a shortage of them over these last years. So this came out March 24th, 2025. It says report shows delays in employees addressing critical issues could jeopardize beneficiaries' financial security, obviously. And the summary is that SSA did not have adequate controls to address complex cases. This comes to mind to me because I hear and I get contacted about religiously non-clients. Sometimes it could be a client, but usually not once I'm on board, because I do all the communicating with the SSA on their behalf. But when people who have called to find out something simple, can I file DAC for my child? Can I um, get a spousal benefit under this situation? And the answer they get is often wrong. It's flat out misinformation. And it's not because I think the speaker staffer intends to give out misinformation, but it's because they were taught this little tiny window of the law surrounding, say, spousal benefits or DAC benefits. And they give this basic answer, not recognizing and not having been taught, obviously, that there are multitude of exceptions to almost every rule. So you can do spousal benefits at 62, but what about if you're a spouse that happens to be a widow? Then it changes. So they don't really, and I'm giving an easy example there, but you get my point. They give some blanket rule like spousal starts at 62. Well, not for everybody. And some spouses won't be eligible, and et cetera, et cetera. So the lack of full information, the complete and total truth, is what is really the equivalent of misinformation, because then the person acts on what they just heard and it didn't actually apply to them under their facts. This is why when we give information, it's generally um, general information. Don't rely on it unless you hire a lawyer to research it for you, kind of thing, and consultation, whatever. Okay, so they go on to say that a recent Office of the Inspector General, OIG, audit report found that the SSA employees, and I'm going to be partially quoting, partially just paraphrasing to make this go faster, did not properly, but I will attach this so you can always double check me, did not properly process 57% of the manager to manager request randomly sampled. 57%. And I'm thinking a manager to manager request is when it could be, and this is just me surmising this. Uh, there's nothing in here that suggests this, I don't think, but we'll get onto it. I think it's when an issue comes up, someone calls in, for instance, or a worker says, "Oh, I have this case, but I'm not sure of the answer." And they bring it to the manager, and the manager's like, "Oh, we really need a specialist in the age 72 special calculation, or we need a specialist in SSI living arrangement when there is a blah, blah, blah." Like some little nuance that their general knowledge uh, isn't covering. And I think that's when one manager will go to another manager who is, maybe more specialized in that area. That is just a guesstimate on my part, guys. So 50% were not properly processed. That's a lot. I mean, well over 50, it's well over half. So you had more chance of getting a wrong processing than a correct one, right? Only 43% then were properly processed. The audit report demonstrates, and I'm quoting here, SSA did not have adequate controls to address complex cases, and that's what I was talking about, those little nuanced differences, ensure communications regarding critical issues, and prevent premature M2M, that's manager to manager closings. As a result, SSA has limited assurance that its employees properly process the majority of the nearly 105,000 M2M requests made between June 2021 and June 2023. So obviously we're talking, this isn't what's going on right now, although I don't know that it's been corrected yet since we're trying to do a whole restructuring, right, to fix things like this. So that 2-year period, 21 to 23, there was 105,000 of these manager to manager requests over these more complicated issues for people. This resulted in delays in employees addressing critical issues and potentially thousands of beneficiaries waiting unnecessarily for weeks or months to receive the benefits they were due. We see this. I mean, I have a handful of those 105,000. I have I have clients who have had to endure long waits to get their benefits that should have been slam dunk. They've already won their disability case. That's it, and it's something back at the back office. Someone's super slow on figuring something out. I mean, I could have done it for them, but I'm not allowed. I'm not a worker for the SSA. Okay. The M2M application, it goes on to say, is a two-way communication tool designed to address priority inquiries on critical cases between offices. When a field office, processing center, or teleservice center employee identifies a critical issue for a beneficiary that requires another office's action, managers can expedite action for the beneficiary by initiating M2M request. They go on to say that managers should only use M2M for high priority requests, such as beneficiaries who have terminal illnesses, made homicidal, suicidal, or potentially violent behavior threats, or are in dire need situations such as facing eviction or homelessness. And those are good reasons to expedite, I would say. Given the critical nature of M2M requests, employees must address these requests within 5 business days or provide an interim reply to the requesting manager explaining the delay. SSA managers provide reasons for delays, and OIG, Office of Inspector General, identified control weaknesses that contributed to delays, such as 1, case complexity, means they didn't know what they were doing. 2, insufficient communication between offices, including no notifications in the M2M application when employees take action on requests. And 3, the absence of controls that prevent employees from prematurely closing M2M requests. Obviously, that have them close them when they're not actually addressed or finished or completed. They finalize this by saying, unless SSA improves its controls, employees will continue to incorrectly process critical cases, contributing to delays in issuing benefits and possibly jeopardizing beneficiaries' financial security. OIG made 6 recommendations to improve SSA's controls and practices related to processing M2M requests. SSA agreed with all 6 recommendations, See the full report here. And they give a link to the full report. I'm not going to go into the full report now. Maybe we will at a later date. I just wanted to get this out to you about the historical inadequate controls over these kind of special nuanced questions and cases. And that they're not that infrequent. I see them all the time in my practice. I love it when I don't have them because then my days, weeks, and months go smoother with that particular case, but they do happen and they happen all too frequently. And yes, it is almost invariably an extensive delay. It could be 6 months. It's a real pain in the rear and not good for my client who's struggling or stressed as it is. And that is what we're trying to prevent. Okay. I will leave you with that. Have a great day, guys. Remember, well, Wednesday, I have one today, the live Q&A session at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for any of your Social Security questions that are suitable for YouTube or any other online video recourse. You put your question in the chat. If you get there in time, you're definitely going to get it answered if it is appropriate to be answered. No funny business, guys. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.